I'll never forget the Tuesday morning I learned that snow could be used as a weapon. And no, I'm not talking about a snowball fight or something you laugh off later. I mean the kind of weaponized snow that turns your whole life upside down before your first sip of coffee. I opened my front door to find my driveway blocked completely by a 6-foot wall of hard-packed snow. It wasn't there when I went to bed, and it sure as hell wasn't an accident. Look, maybe you're thinking, come on, it's Minnesota, get over it. Trust me, this wasn't your usual, oops, the plow left a berm situation. This was surgical, personal, like someone had a grudge and a heavy machine. The culprit? Carolyn Montgomery, the newly crowned queen of our Lakeside Commons HOA. And if you've never met Carolyn, well, count your blessings. Imagine every bad HOA story you've heard. Blend it with a little middle management fury and a deep, abiding love of obscure bylaws. That's Carolyn. Now, I've been living here 3 years, mostly under the radar, until Carolyn took charge 6 months ago. She'd turned the HOA into her own private fiefdom and decided I was her main enemy after I painted my front door navy blue instead of forest green, as specified on page 14, subsection 4C of the bylaws. Yeah, that's a real thing. I wish I was making it up. But this snow barricade? It was a new low, even for her. I stood there in my work clothes, coffee steaming in my hand, just staring. My truck was boxed in. My crew was waiting 30 miles away in Byron for a job already running late. I took a bunch of pictures for evidence because even half awake, I knew I'd need them. This wasn't random. The snow was jammed across the whole driveway. Edges neat like someone took their time. Too clean, too obvious. Someone with a plow, or a grudge, or both. My neighbor, Gerald, was scraping his car across the street. 73, retired IBM guy, been around since they broke ground here. Gerald has HOA stories that'll keep you up at night. He yells over. Saw it happen around 6. That new company the HOA hired. Did 3 passes, pushed it all right there. Driver kept looking at his phone, like he had a blueprint or something. I think I ground my teeth so hard I chipped a molar. So, background. Carolyn had bulldozed through a vote last fall to ditch our reliable local plow guy for a new outfit out of Rochester. Triple the price, half the service, but Carolyn had a vision. Guess who voted no? Guess who lost? I called my lead guy, Dave, told him I'd be late. Changed into my overalls, stomped out to my garage. I've got a little Kubota tractor. She's not built for Snowmageddon, but she's all I had. My snow blower was pointless. The snow was basically cement. It took 40 minutes just to free the tractor from the garage. By 8, I was still fuming, scooping up slab after slab, realizing just how intentional this pile really was. Layers of ice, salt, pressed hard. It was a snowbank built for siege warfare. And that's when Carolyn stepped out onto her porch, 3 houses down. Still in her bathrobe, coffee in hand, like she was watching a parade she'd planned herself. You ever see someone so pleased with themselves you want to throw your mug? That was the look. And I had a choice, shovel onto my own lawn, make myself a target for another bylaw violation, or return to sender. My property line runs right along the street, and you know what? There's nothing in the rules that says I can't park snow on the public right-of-way while I figure out what to do with it. Carolyn's yard borders the same strip. I'm not saying I'm a lawyer, but I know a loophole when I see one. So, I get my truck out, slap on the plow attachment, and start moving that Everest of snow. Neighbors come out, Gerald, 2 doors down with her phone out, Marcus and Jen from across the street. It's like I'm hosting the morning's entertainment. But I made sure every shovel, every push all on public land. No laws broken, no traffic blocked. Carolyn comes charging out. Now she's dressed, business casual, winter boots, hair in a bun, so tight, I'm surprised her face didn't crack. Brandon Fletcher, what do you think you're doing? I smile, real friendly, just dealing with this mysterious snowbank. City plows didn't do it. Check the timing. This was your contractor at 6 a.m. Gerald saw the whole thing. Gerald waves, loving every second. Carolyn starts reciting bylaws and city ordinances, but I cut her off. My driveway isn't a common area. You had it blocked. That's illegal. Maybe even false imprisonment. She says I wouldn't dare file a police report. I tell her to try me. And then, since I still had a massive pile of snow, I told her maybe her porch could use some winter decoration. Her eyes. Let's just say I've never seen pure panic quite like it. I plowed the whole thing straight on her lawn, angled it so her steps, planters, and front door were buried to the railings. I've been doing snow removal a long time. I know how to aim a blade. Carolyn was screaming, but between the engine and the crunching snow, I couldn't hear a word. When I finished, I leaned out my window, told her to have a great day, and to think twice before weaponizing snow. The rest of the day, my phone started lighting up. Calls from Carolyn, ignored. From Harold, the HOA vice president, ignored. From a lawyer, no less, definitely ignored. Dave handed me coffee when I finally got to the job, said nothing. Sometimes that's all a good friend needs to do. By lunchtime, I listened to the voicemails. Carolyn was shrieking lawsuits and criminal charges. Harold was quoting bylaws, threatening fines. The lawyer wanted me at an emergency HOA meeting that night. I called Patricia, my lawyer. She laughed, told me Carolyn had already tried to get her to drop me as a client that morning. Brandon, she said, you might actually be in the right. If the HOA blocked your driveway on purpose, that's actionable. You didn't damage anything. You didn't trespass. But you have to show up at this meeting. I'll come too. Let me do the talking. The meeting was at the community center. Place looked like a courtroom, which Patricia immediately complained about. Carolyn sat at the center, gavel ready, board members flanking her like minions. There was a bigger crowd than usual. Gerald right up front, Doris with her phone, Marcus and Jen, and a bunch of neighbors probably hoping for drama. Carolyn banged the gavel and started accusing me of everything from vandalism to willful destruction of property. Patricia cut in, said if they wanted to accuse me of a crime, call the cops. Otherwise, stick to the facts. Carolyn claimed I'd dumped 6 tons of snow on her porch, causing distress and inconvenience. Patricia countered. After your contractor blocked his driveway with 6 tons of snow, remember? She demanded if Carolyn denied it was deliberate. Carolyn blustered, but Gerald jumped up, said he saw everything and would swear in court. Room got tense. People started muttering. Patricia laid it all out. Carolyn weaponized her power, targeted me. I fought back legally. No trespass. No damage. Just justice, honestly. Carolyn shouted that I targeted her. Patricia, cool as ever, just said, yes, that's called retaliation. You started it. Harold tried to throw bylaws at us about visual blight, maintaining property, the board's authority to fine anyone who threatens community harmony. Patricia wasn't having it. Snow's temporary. Blocking a driveway is a way bigger deal, and their catch-all clause? Already struck down in court a dozen times. The board started to fold. Susan, the only sane one, made a motion to apologize, reimburse me for lost work, and review the snow contract. The vote passed 3-2. Carolyn grabbed her purse and walked out without a word. They cut me a check. Patricia got her lawyer fees, and the neighborhood watched it all unfold. But you know how these stories go. Carolyn wasn't done. Next day, violation sticker on my door for holiday decorations, up past January 15th. My mom's old wreath. $50. Then a letter about my recycling bin out too early, $75. Then the mailbox wasn't approved charcoal black, another $100. I called Patricia, half laughing, half raging. She said, document everything. Pay the fines for now. We're building a harassment case. So I did. I set alarms to take out my bins at exactly 6 p.m., painted the mailbox, even measured my grass, which was mostly under snow anyway. Carolyn kept finding new reasons. A patch of brown grass, my truck parked 6 inches over the line, garbage bin on the wrong side. $800 in fines by February. I paid it all, kept every receipt. March rolled around. Then things got nasty. One Saturday morning, someone spray-painted jerk in red across my garage. I called the cops. Officer Martinez showed up, took pictures, wrote a report. I had a pretty good idea who did it, but no proof. Next day, I installed security cameras. Monday morning, all 4 of my tires were slashed. Cameras caught someone in dark clothes and a ski mask, limping, and a white Lexus idling just out of frame. Carolyn's right knee had bothered her for years. She mentioned it in a meeting once. And she drove a white Lexus. Police took it seriously this time. Martinez said, "You feel safe here?" I just wanted it on the record. Sent everything to Patricia. She said, "This is criminal now. If we can get a clear shot, she's done." I upgraded the cameras, installed more lights. Next, someone put sugar in my gas tank. Then a rock through my front window at 3 a.m. Same figure, same car, same limp. Police said they needed more. Probably isn't proof. And without a clear shot of Carolyn's face, they were stuck. At this point, even Officer Martinez suggested I move. "This isn't healthy, Mr. Fletcher." But, there's a stubborn part of me that refuses to be run out by a bully with a clipboard. So I stayed. I waited. Twist came from Doug Peterson, the board accountant, usually Carolyn's lapdog. Called me in late April. Wanted to meet in public. He looked rough, like he hadn't slept in a week. He'd uncovered that Carolyn had been embezzling HOA funds, $80,000, maybe more. He found falsified records, stolen money, unauthorized bonuses. He'd been collecting evidence for months. Said he was scared. Carolyn knew things about his business, threatened him. But after the vandalism, after my tires, he couldn't stay quiet. I told him to go to the police, gave him Patricia's number. Next day, he did. By noon, cops had a warrant. By nightfall, Carolyn was arrested for embezzlement, fraud, and more. When they searched her house, they found a ski mask with fibers matching the ones from my truck. They found the exact can of red spray paint used on my garage. They even found her journal, detailing every act of vandalism, every plan, every grudge. The woman had chronicled her descent like it was a bad true crime novel. With Carolyn gone, Susan took over as interim president. The HOA brought in an auditor. Turns out Carolyn stole over 16 grand, using it for vacations, car payments, luxury junk. The neighborhood got a letter explaining it all. Insurance would cover most of it, but we might see a small fee to cover the deductible. People were furious. Some talked about suing Carolyn personally. The county prosecutor reached out to me. The case was airtight between my footage, the evidence in Carolyn's house, and her own confession book. There was no escape. Her lawyer tried for a plea deal, 5 years in prison, restitution, a permanent restraining order. I didn't give a victim impact statement. I didn't need to. Judge Morrison sentenced her to 6 years, full restitution, and made sure she'd never set foot in Lakeside Commons again. Funny thing, once Carolyn was out of the picture, the community healed. Susan led a complete review of the bylaws, ditched all the ridiculous ones. Gerald, the eternal complainer, joined the board and actually worked to protect homeowners for a change. The mailbox rule? Gone. Been timing? Relaxed. Christmas lights? Leave them up till January's over if you want. The HOA focused on the stuff that actually matters. I got my repair money back, upgraded my cameras, started showing up to meetings and voting. No more fines, no more threats. Life got normal. The snow that winter came and went. No one's driveway targeted. Doris told me she still had the original video of my snow retaliation saved in the cloud, just in case. Neighborhood legend. The navy blue door? Still there. The rule now just says tasteful colors allowed. And yeah, about a year ago, I got a call. Minnesota number. I almost let it ring out. This is Carolyn Montgomery. She was being released, moving to Arizona. Called from her lawyer's office just to apologize. Said she lost everything over a blue door and a grudge. For years of therapy, she told me. Still no good answer for why she did it, but she was sorry. I told her, what matters now is what you do next. Hope you find peace. It sounded rehearsed, but maybe a part of her meant it. I still think about all of it. The costs, months of stress, vandalism, a pile of fines. But what came after? Justice. Real, actual justice. A community that learned to stand up instead of ducking and hoping the storm passes. Would I do it again? Yeah. Maybe I'd buy the cameras sooner, but yeah. And here's the thing. I'm not some hero. I just refuse to let a bully win. That navy blue door became a symbol. The right to live in your own home without fear. To be left alone by people with too much power, and too little sense. So what about you? Have you ever stood up to someone like that? Someone with just enough authority to make your life hell? Where's the line between fighting back and letting it go? I'm curious. What would you have done if you were me? Let me know what you think. Or tell me your own story. Because let's be honest, everyone's got a Carolyn in their life somewhere.
Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã xem video.